Red Torch Ginger started about 10 years ago. It is statute-led, so as you know, we start with the Equal Status Acts. You know, we know that that's required of us. It is kind of supported by the fact that I do have legal qualifications. I am a lecturer in IADT. I teach on the equality programs and the Masters of Equality in Business. I teach the legal framework there, so I have a good idea about what's required already. Now, that is backed up and supported by the fact that I do have what I deem an important, but I recognise a very limited perspective as a gay man in business. So an important thing about EDI, okay, so one thing, it's that I was mentioning employment law contracts, that we have them in there as required by law, some information. That could be simply about grievance procedures and policies. If they feel that something is not going right or the way that they should expect it to go, well, then we do set out policies and procedures for how we're going to manage that. Employees don't always know, one, that they are entitled to these things, but two, that, oh, my employer is enforcing these and safeguarding my rights over certain things, because they don't necessarily know. So that kind of works two ways. Things like paternity and maternity leave, we would make sure our employees would be cognizant of the fact that those things exist. They would ask us for them and we would ensure that they get it. It can get very complicated when people dealing with these things deal with the subject of EDI. These are the people adjudicating on it, let's say. Deal with EDI emotionally. It really has to be dealt, like most of the rest of the law, objectively. The future needs of EDI, I think that they need to be more provided for, more heavily provided for in legislation. There are elements of Irish legislation, the Equal Status Acts and the Employment Equality Act, where elements of it, the definitions that they have, make them very exclusive groups, such as the definition around gender, which only mentions male, female and transgender. A much broader definition is required to incorporate the reality of what gender means in 2023 in Irish society and then in business. I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. That could be knowledge of the employee, knowledge or lack of knowledge of the employer. Knowledge is power one way or the other. So I think that this topic of EDI in business gets tackled from an education perspective. Okay, I think we need to do things to make employers know more, or encourage them to know more, incentivize them to know more. Okay, and that could start at wherever their education was, but then if there's people who are a long time in business, there needs to be something to incentivize them to embrace EDI.